Hello, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. It seems to be all about caustic tissue samples these days, how to survive inside the maelstroms. Well, it's ironic that to survive inside a maelstrom and to collect the materials that you need to get the new caustic sinks, you have to survive inside a maelstrom. Let's take a look and find out how. The maelstroms. They've kind of just been there since their arrival around update 14. They were a long time coming, and as soon as commanders went in there, they finally realised that they're going to need a little bit of engineering to survive in this hostile environment. The caustic generators would ooze their caustic mist here, there and everywhere, and you could get worried by a Thargoid. But there are bounties to collect, and very shortly there was a reason to collect these caustic materials inside the maelstroms. In particular, one of these is caustic tissues, and caustic tissues are one of the ingredients you need for a caustic sink. Something that's going to eat up all that caustic damage as you traverse inside this Thargoid Maelstrom. Now, a recent community goal was run by Frontier whether to hand in combat bombs or deliver materials to a particular megaship would unlock a caustic sink launcher. These caustic sink launchers will absorb all the caustic material and expend their ammunition over time. You are going to be rewarded one if you met certain criteria, top 50% and top 25% depending on what tier you had. If, however, you weren't spending your entire life in front of Elite Dangerous and doing something else instead, then you're going to have to go out and go through the process of unlocking it within the game. Fortunately, it's not that difficult, but you do need some materials. These materials are as follows. You'll need 15 chemical storage units, 10 galvanizing alloys, 20 caustic shards, 10 corrosive mechanisms, and 5 caustic tissue samples. Now, it's the caustic tissue samples is what we're concerned with in this video. For any commander who has ventured into the maelstroms, by shooting the caustic generators, you are going to get the shards and the corrosive mechanisms. The caustic tissue samples, however, do require you to give those caustic generators a little bit of an eminer. And for that, it's a little bit of a process. For this process, I'm going to be using my Anaconda. I've got it tricked up. It's got all the hull reinforcements on it because this corrosive substance is going to eat into your hull. I've also got a multi-limpet controller, so I can collect, I can recon, I can research, I can do whatever I want to do, but more importantly, I can decontaminate and repair my ship whilst I'm in the maelstrom. Now, at the time of making this video, I was able to get myself over to the Altair system, where the rescue ship there was able to supply me with caustic sinks. Alright, you'll find them sink section of outfitting, so no dramas there. So once you go through the unlock process, once you've obviously got all your materials, which we'll come on to in a minute, you can see you can go to the tech broker. The tech broker will say, well, you know, I've got anti-corrosion cargo racks and whatever else, and here is the caustic sink launcher, and here are the requirements. As you can see, I'm off to get my caustic tissue samples. So corrosive mechanisms, caustic shards, all the malarkey. They also do alloy hull reinforcements, but they're not that good, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought they would be better at staving off, you know, caustic resistance. And of course, you've got an E4 anti-corrosion cargo rack as well. So, without further more to do, we've discussed the ship, we've discussed what they are, what they do, and all the rest of it. Now, let's go and get these caustic tissue samples, which is basically the name of the game, isn't it? So here I am in my friendly neighbourhood maelstrom. I finally got there, got interdicted about 8 or 9 times. So once I got to the edge of the maelstrom, I started to repair the ship and get the hull back up, you know, to where I could weather a bit of the storm, so to speak. I've then focused on one or two of the outer lying caustic generators. And this is where the fun begins, really, because you really got to keep your wits about you. I have found by instigating silent running and then using and popping my heat sinks, getting nice and close, giving it a good scan with the Xeno scanner, having a collector limpet just in case floating around, and repairing the ship from all the caustic damage that I'm incurring is the best method of doing so. To be honest with you, it's tricky. It took me several goes and quite a few returns to the rebuy screen, I don't mind telling you. But then, around about the third sample, I tended to have the knack of doing it. Running nice and cold. Be aware of when the caustic generator is going to ooze its caustic guft of caustic damage. It'll start to glow green, so make sure you're on the other end of the caustic generator. Make sure you've got some good upgraded thrusters as well. Smaller ships are probably more apt to this as opposed to the Anaconda, I found, but either way I was more successful in the Anaconda because it afforded me a bigger amount of hull points from the caustic damage. The multi-limpet controller indeed was an absolute must. It really was. I mean, I don't know what I would have done without that. And of course, with the Class 7, you've got decontamination, you've got repair, and you've got the collector and the recon and research limpets. So to recap, you approach a caustic generator, nice and cold. It would help if you had a cold ship, say power generators with clean and low emissions, thrusters, clean burn, that sort of stuff. That would certainly help. Scan it with your enhanced Xeno scanner. Get your research limpets out, multi-limpet controller, fire one of those off, retreat a bit, okay, and try not to get blown up or get too close. If you do get too close to this, you will get a little bit of damage when the caustic generator explodes. And the reason for that really is that you basically got too close and you've worried it. But if you've already got a research limpet in play, it will still collect the tissue sample. You'll just get spun out of range, be able to go back in, get a collector limpet, that'll go and collect the sample, and all will not be lost. In all, I found this to be, I wouldn't say on the edge of things, this is perhaps one of the more difficult things I've had to do in Elite Dangerous for a long time, and it required a slightly different skill set and a ship that is not only tanked up but also ran nice and cool. Be wary of the caustic damage because, hey, caustic damage is the silent killer. It will eat you away. But before long, you'll get your 5 tissue samples and you'll be in business. Don't forget, if you need the other materials like the shards and mechanisms, then make sure you're packing some weapons, because those weapons just shoot those caustic generators from a distance and then send your collector limpets off to go and get those materials as well. I've got a video on that on my channel and I'll link it in the description and also put a link up in the top right hand corner. So I got myself over to the Bless system and the rescue ship Kissith. This was the closest one to the particular Maelstrom that I was harvesting, and that's a good word, harvesting. Straight in, as I mentioned, is the tech broker. It's a one-time unlock for the Caustic Sink. The tech broker there, Garrett Stafford, he's got anti-corrosion cargo racks, hull reinforcements. That's the Caustic Sink. There's my caustic tissue samples, of which I've got 5. I've got my mechanisms, I've got my caustic shards, galvanizing alloys, and chemical storage units. With that, you unlock it, and then once you unlock it, you can buy any additional caustic sinks with good old-fashioned hard cash. The credit. Job done. So, like I say, it was a bit of a process. It wasn't an easy thing. It took a little bit of time and a little bit of a grind, but I have them now, so I'm now free. That once, I suppose, update 15 hits the end of April 2023, I'll be free to roam the Maelstroms, see whatever that entails as well. Thanks very much for watching anyway. Caustic tissues and caustic sinks. How to get them. I've been Ricardo. Thanks for watching. See you soon.